Hello and welcome to Prophecy of Pendor, episode 5. This is the first, and probably only, unless I'm an idiot, which is actually a really strong possibility, but unless I'm an idiot again in the future, this is going to be the only post-commentary. I really don't enjoy doing these, but as you can probably hear, I got a new mic, and me being an idiot, again, used the wrong setting. And so my vocal recording, which I was really proud of, by the way, there was just so many things of genius that I did during that, wasn't recorded. It was just silence. So I was pretty upset about that. I fixed it. The settings were all weird. I blame that. But yeah, so this is a post commentary. So there's probably gonna be a lot of what the hell was I thinking and stuff like that. But you know, just go with it. Just go with it. Right now, I am going around to... Where am I going? What am I doing? Okay, I'm gonna check my party. And... Yeah, see, this is exactly it. It's kind of hard to comment on what you're doing when you've already done it. And it's just... Oh, okay. Right. So... Oh, that's it. Okay, I signed up for an escort a caravan mission. And those are usually pretty boring because you just have to, you know, wait for the really slow-moving caravan to catch up to you. And I'm just being really careful that there aren't any, you know, one of those scary groups of people running around. Oh, I remember this one. It was, see, I'm doing this, like, right after I recorded, but I already forgot what I was doing. Because, like, after you finish recording, you kind of just put it out of your mind. Because you just, like, go to a completely different zone when you're recording. And, and yeah, so it's really hard to remember, like, specific things that happen in a recording, even if you're doing a post-commentary, like, 10 minutes later after swearing at yourself vehemently for forgetting to, you know, configure the recording settings the right way, or doing a test record, you know, something else a smart person would have done. But there's really not much to say about me traveling a long ways and not using the fast travel system, you know, control space, not using it very much at all. I'm really scared of those little groups of guys now, because as I get smaller and my party gets bigger, those guys get even more dangerous, because it's harder to command that many people. Now, things to look for this episode. I keep checking what my renown is, because every 25 renown you get one more party size, and every person really counts at this point, because, you know, like, 80% of them are cannon fodder, despite there being no cannons in this game. Yeah, there's like a meat shield in front of, you know, the actually useful guys, and they're just people for, like, the enemy cavalry and archers to focus their fire on, and they cost me, you know, I don't know, 50 dinars over their entire lifetime. Not many of them make it to, you know, footmen with, like, actual shields and actual uses and stuff like that. But I really just want a big group of meat shields so I can go on a recruiting spree, and then I think when I have, like, 70 or so, yeah, probably 70 people in my party, I'm just gonna get a huge group of archers. Like half of them are supposed to be archers at this point. I've read a couple a couple, you know, just like broad guidelines for Pendor, because it is, again, more difficult than base Warband. I don't think there's any successful mod that's really much easier than Warband, because Warband itself is really easily exploitable, and you can kind of see the seams, and you know how to exploit those seams. I feel like anyone who's really played the game for any length of time is just gonna say, oh, well, you do this, and then the game gets kind of easy. And then the challenge is just putting in the amount of time that it takes to become king of the world and own everything, and everything is under one kingdom. I mean, that takes a ridiculous amount of time. I've never actually fully accomplished it, on a non-cheating character. It's totally possible. I have the skills, but it just requires an incredible commitment. So I've never done that on the base mod. Pendor looks like the kind of thing that I'm aiming towards, like, fully completing all the knight relationships and whatnot. And that was a good bit of experience for an easy quest. So here I am looking for renown, and I'm probably remarking, oh, I got +1, I'm so happy, that's one person. Then I'm going to go about all these tactical things that you guys are never going to hear because the recording got lost and it died in a fire. I had to tell his parents. It was sad. So I'm probably talking about how I want to go back to red territory. Yep, Mouse is going towards red territory, so that's where I'm going. Because I just want to get my relationship in the towns up, because as your relationship goes up, like a huge amount, it's probably not going to be anytime soon, but by a huge amount, I think buying territory is cheaper in the town, and also the merchants, like, lower their prices a little bit. And here I'm complaining that the blue guy killed that forest band way too quickly. There were only 2 of them, if I read that right. So of course it should have been a complete slaughter, but I just, wanted the experience, because you're really starved for experience at this point. There's a point at the beginning of the game where you're just in battle after battle because your relatively small band of meat shields is pretty fast, and none of the bandits are running away from you, and you actually want to battle most everything, even if it'll almost get you killed. I mean, your goal is not to lose your horse in the beginning. I think if you lose your horse by being captured, or any of your weapons, then you have to consider the file lost and start over. But if you just get, like a group of 10 people, and this is how I normally play when I'm not recording, in my, like, really safe play state, you just butt heads with as many outlaws as you can, even if you're, like, the only one surviving, and you have to do the Genghis Khan thing, where you just circle around them in your horsey, and kill them slowly. Even if you have to do that, it's usually worth it for the experience. Then by, like, level 15, which I'm obviously nowhere near here, then you can start doing the mercenary thing. But, I think it's more interesting to watch a state where I'm not going to have so many possibilities of failure, because I'll get, like, 1 out of 5 files that are actually good. It's a pretty dangerous playstyle. It's what I found ultimately works, but, Mountain Blade is one of the things where it's, easy to get into, but really difficult to master. My few forays into multiplayer Warband, it just shows, like, how little understanding I have of combat. There's just a really strong flow of, like, running forward and running backwards that I really don't get. Part of it's kind of gamey, and part of it is just, like, how deep this game is. And here I'm talking to these knight adventurers, and I'm hoping to have, like, a conversation with them, but that's apparently the buy button on the top. Sad. It's lamenting that fact. So I'm going towards red territory, and I'm going to talk to basically everyone I know and ask them for tasks, trying to find mercenary group. But the thing I don't know is that they don't offer you the mercenary position if they're not at war, which really makes sense. But again, Pongo, idiot, Pongo, you really have to consider that. Yeah, so I'm really scared of getting into that battle because I don't know if Empire doesn't like me. So I'm looking at the right thing, actually. Yeah, I see Empire indifferent. So I know it's safe to approach. I know by the time I get there, the battle's going to be over already. And honestly, Sargon really could have won that battle. I don't know why they fled. They should just go right back in there. What happened? I didn't look at this on camera, but thinking about it and looking back on it, what happened was that that Empire, the yellow guy, that Empire guy had a negative relation with Sarlin, even though they're not at war. And he saw some peasants, so he thought, I'll go loot those guys. And even though even though Sarleon and Empire weren't at war, the Sarleon guy saw an Empire guy attacking the civilians, and so they immediately, they go into defensive mode. So even though the two places aren't at war, you have two vassals acting on their own fighting, and that usually doesn't happen unless it's like specifically in the instance I just described. And what I think happens, and this is really interesting, I didn't know the game thought this much. What happens is after that battle, every vassal knows, oh, there's this Empire guy who's killing our peasants. Let's all not like Empire. And so a couple of the guys I talked to are going to say, hey, you should help us go to war with Empire, because they're really trying to, they're like mad that their civilians died. So trying to manipulate their way into being at war with Empire. And I think word of how annoyed all the vassals are with Empire eventually gets to the king. I forget his name. I really should remember his name, because I'm aiming to be a mercenary for these guys. But King, whatever his name, eventually gets word and probably consults the marshal and eventually declares war. And in this episode, I mean, it's not really a spoiler. Like, you knew it was coming. Well, you knew war with someone was coming. And like, the one thing I'm hoping well, not one thing. One of the major things I'm hoping that Mount and Blade 2 or Bannerlord or whatever surname they have to call it to feel better about themselves, whatever. What I hope they improve.
I can give you that purpose.
Okay, hold on to that thought. Something that annoyed me, and why I'm holding still, is because I'm yelling at this Lord Montawar, because he said, you look like a person without purpose. I can give you that purpose. I ask for tasks. He doesn't give me anything. Why? You can't give me that purpose. You don't have any tasks for me, Montawar. Ugh. Okay, so Mount Blade 2. What I hope they improve is that the automation behind all of the empires is a lot more thoughtful, and there's reasons A that go into reasons B. Like I talked about with Sarleon and the Empire going at war, I'm hoping more of that happens, because really what happens in the game is just like empires go into war, and then they go into truce, and then they go into nothing, and then they go into war again. And it's just like this constant state of war, and then peace, and then war, and then peace. And like that, it's kind of a cynical way to look at Europe, how things were in that age. And you're really like, you're not looking at all the factors that led into such ridiculous things as the 100 Years' War and whatnot. Like 100 Years' War wasn't just like, oh, well, the vassals are getting impatient. Let's endanger hundreds of thousands of lives. Yay! It didn't happen. Like, there's a bunch of things that lead into every decision. I know that can't be, like, faithfully recreated in a game outside of, like, Civilization or some galactic sim that takes, 500 hours to finish one mission. I'm not overestimating here. Besides that, you can't really simulate every part of it, but I'm just hoping it's more like religion comes into it, and past actions of Sarleon, and trade, and like, oh, well, we don't want to go to war with these guys because they have the only really good steel in the area, because that's going to hurt our economies. Like, there's a basic economy system in Warband, but it's never really like actualized. Like, it's always just like really under the surface mechanics, and that really does this game disservice, I think. Like, it could be really interesting, and another good example is Skyrim. Skyrim has all these mechanics. Like, there's so many things going on. Like, when you're not in the area, the NPCs are still automated. Like, they're still doing their own thing. And, a butterfly flapping his wings often... I already forgot the names because I haven't played the game in like 6 months. But flapping his wings in the north is going to affect trade in the south. And maybe someone commits a crime in the north and steals a bunch of, I don't know, steel. And there was a caravan that was gonna depart from the north with a bunch of steel weapons. And those are suddenly a lot pricier, so that affects, like, the the economy of the South, and there's so much at play in that game, but you never see any of it. You just see the effects. So like the criticism I heard a ton for Skyrim, because it's a lot more in the limelight than Warband is that it's boring. Nothing happens. It doesn't feel like a world. Like it's an ocean, but the ocean's only like a couple inches deep, and I think that's a criticism that could carry over to Mount & Blade pretty well. And they really should just deepen the ocean, because they have the whole ocean. It's such a widespread game. There's so many different things that can happen. But they just, need to deepen it out a bit. Okay, so in this battle, I'm really scared, because there's really highly trained troops, and I don't want many people to die, because I really need all these troops, and I'm afraid of lancers, because you've seen a couple times where one hit from a couched lance just completely knocked me out. So I'm just running around trying to butter up these guys for my troops so they can kill them without too much happening. And notice how many times I level up my one-handed in this fight. It's really good. It gives me a ton of experience, and it's gonna make future battles a lot easier. I was really glad to have found this fight, because look, like every 2 good blows, I'm leveling up my one-handed, which allows my one-handed to hit harder and experience faster the next time. I know there's like an experience curve for one-handed, so it kind of slows down. You can't get that many levels as you go up. Like once you're past, I don't know, like 250, you really rarely see your one-handed go up very much, and it's never noticeable when it does. But like from 80 until 200, every couple of blows your one-handed's going up. From there it really slows down, but it's what I'm trying to... Yeah, I think that's the 4th one-handed weapons increase. Excuse me. Recording 2 back-to-back is very hard, even with post-commentary. And here I'm complaining about my accuracy, because I think I only have 1 in horse archery, and I can't hit the broadside of a barn. Look at that! Like, he's even in my crosshairs, but there's just nothing I can do to hit him. I think I hit him twice. 1 that does no damage. Oh, 3 times. 2 that do no damage, and 1 headshot to the horse that does 2 damage. So it's a flesh wound. It, like, grazes cheek. Then I help the guys kill him. I don't get any experience from that, unfortunately. But, I got 5 kills this round, which is pretty good. It's a pretty good number. And I'm looking at the casualties, and I'm seeing 4 dead. And, 3 of them are trained militia, and that kinda hurts. I probably have like 100 dinars invested into each of those men by this point. But it's alright. And now I'm really looking at these Squires of the Lion. They're really expensive. 108 per troop is ridiculously high. But I end up hiring them because they're just going to be really useful. Because at this point in the game, the quality of your troops is so much more important than the quantity. Like, most troops are just going to be meat shields at best until they get to be horsemen or archers or, something useful. So here I'm just looking at the weapons. I'm trying to... I'm going to put them back. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm looking at everything, seeing what's better. That fine sword is strictly better. Except for range. So I shouldn't say strictly. Here I am putting the old items back so I can let Sarah select from what I'm not using. Yeah. That shield ends up being better, and it looks cooler too. Oh, and what I didn't look at from that shield was it has so much more stamina. That parenthesis number out of number parenthesis. Like, it has like twice the stamina of the other one. So it's gonna break a lot less, which means it'll be a lot more survivable in fights. That bow is strictly better. I mean, you can tell what's going on. I'm just trying to, keep things interesting. Not have a completely dry episode. I am recording, right? Okay, it wouldn't be the first time today that hasn't worked. Alright, so... Let's see, I'm just getting everything over 50. 50 is a really arbitrary number that I just, find to be... I find to be effective to only get items that are 50 or lower. And, right. Oh, and I leveled up that fight too, which is huge. Because look at this. I'm going to put it into intelligence, because I'm smart. There's a few times I say that. That gives me the extra skill point. And now that I have 9 intelligence, I can level up my surgery, which is only at 2 right now, but it's going to go up to 3. I know that this edition is, like, mind-blowing, but I have to say it. It's going to go up to 3, and that's going to mean 12% of the times when someone would be mortally struck, they aren't. They're only wounded. And that's getting to be the percentage where it's really hard-hitting, and a lot of my troops end up surviving, because that's only the mortally wounded that number applies to. Like, there's already a chance that that someone's gonna be knocked out instead of killed, because it's only the last blow that matters. You could hit like 99% of their health with a great axe or something, and then the last point is like hit with a horse and they're knocked unconscious. Like you saw it, I think, in that last battle, either that or one that's coming up. I knocked someone unconscious with my horse with like 3 damage, and that's enough. So, I also got horse archery because I was really pissed off at how inaccurate I was. I don't actually use my bow in the only other battle this episode. Yeah. But we just went to war recently with Empire, which I already said was gonna happen, so I didn't really need to say it when it happened, but there it is. And I become a mercenary with Baron Godric, and from this episode on, things are really just gonna take off. I'm gonna get into 5 or 6 battles every episode if I have the troops to support it. You're gonna see me being a bit of a pussy in the big battles where there's a lot of Sarleon and a lot of Empire troops involved. Mostly because almost every troop vassals have are going to be better than the best of my troops, except for those horses, but they don't count because they're really expensive. Yeah, so I'm just gonna have my troops in the back, and then I'm gonna act as the the vanguard. Watch the flank, although flanking rarely happens, even though there is improved AI in this mod, but whatever. So I'll be the vanguard, and then I'll charge in when the situation looks best, but I'm not afraid for my troops' lives. And we're gonna get several kills from that, but my troops aren't gonna be in any danger. I'm gonna say we're gonna get like 80% of the kills that would happen if I just charged in with the rest of them, but like 500% more troop security, I think. Like I'm really gonna withstand few casualties when it happens. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to run ahead of the Baron, because I'm faster than him, and I know if he's pursuing those troops, then he's going to join me in battle because we're friendly, and he, already wants to kill them. So it's instead of being, only my 40 against these, what were they, 44? Yeah. Instead of only my 40, all of the Baron's troops are added. So here's the first instance of the vanguarding I do. I let all his cavalry charge, and his men are charging too. My men are holding in the back there, you see? So I stay near my men, because I don't want an arrow to kill me or anything. And now I have everyone charged. Now that, their infantry is pretty clear, they're going to take the brunt of the charge, and his cavalry is already decimating them. These brigands really can't stand up to a vassal's army. It's why they're faster than the vassals, so they can avoid it. Notice how I steered clear of that guy's mace. I knew he was going to get the final swing on me because he had more leverage. I think he started swinging for us, so I swerved at the last second. And that honestly could have killed my horse. That was the leader of the bandit party, I think. That would have really hurt me. So here I am, just picking off guys that are standing, facing the wrong direction. I can't break shields in one blow yet. My one arm is definitely not strong enough for that. But if they're facing the wrong way like that, oh, there's the horse charge. That's like about 4 damage. Knocked him unconscious, hilariously enough. I'm not performing very well for the rest of the battle because I'm laughing. Because it's really funny, you know, the guy with, you know, deep chest wounds, about to die, and someone like hits him with a horse and he just falls unconscious and his chest magically heals. Funny stuff. And then they're mosh pitting and they kill it. I'm freaking out because I thought that was my Squire of the Lion. And I would have been very sad because he's worth a lot. I gained only 1 renown from that battle. I don't know why I was that few. I'm not hiring another one of these. I can't afford it. I cannot afford it. Don't do it. Stop. Okay, good. And then I take 1 prisoner. Access the item pool. None of these are very good, which I realize. So I just take everything above 50 because I know Sarah is, like, all of her armor is better than that. And I can't afford the inventory space for that one. So I let her select, but I already took all the good stuff, so of course there's nothing going to be there. Priority's ready to upgrade. And I'm finally getting to the point where I have a quality group of men. Like this, I have very few militia. I have few-ish, like kind of still a lot, but few-ish trained militia. And so my troops are upgrading in quality. And I'm getting renown, slowly but steadily. And as I said, every 25, I think. It might be 20. I don't know, some number. Every some number of renown, my party size keeps increasing. And that's good because I don't think I'm ever going to get enough intelligence to put many more points in leadership. Don't I have like 4 already, maybe 3? So I need 12 intelligence. And levels are going to start slowing down soon, and I really have to think where I'm going to put the points. Where I want to upgrade. That's going to be a very important decision. And the extra skill point would be nice, but I really need to raise some of my other skills because strength is, again, the most powerful skill in the game. You can't beat health. You just can't. And you can't beat Iron Flesh, and strength allows for more Iron Flesh. What's the second one? Here I'm selling all my stuff. I'm getting more food because we're going to be in a siege. Right? Aren't I? Okay, I'm going to the tavern trying to sell stuff. Right. I talk to people and I find that the person isn't here. Yeah, so, intelligence is the 3rd one down. I think dexterity is the 2nd one. That is one of the worst stats to have. So, the things that it applies to aren't bad. I think horse archery is one of them. And what else? I think, yeah, definitely like one-handed and stuff like that. No, power swing and stuff like that. So those are okay, but it's just the most useless thing to put points in because they really give you a paltry amount of one-handed and archery and stuff like that. They give you a paltry amount of those points. And those really aren't as useful. And as I said, level ups are really, really valuable. Past level, 15. They're really rare. Those points aren't going to be that useful. So I try not to put many points into those. And then the 4th skill, which is Charisma, I think. I think it's Charisma. That just adds 1 to your party size. It's always a safe thing to put into that. Actually, I think that's the that's the leadership one. Okay, so yeah, it's fine to put a lot of stuff into that. You really need to prioritize strength first because you have to live, through the battle. Well, it's less important in this mod. After you die, everyone in your party charges. So it's less important, but it's still a good idea to have a lot of strength, a lot of hit points, a lot of power swing, a lot of Iron Flesh, a lot of power draw.
Yes. Well met.
Well, actually, I don't know if that's strength or dexterity. One of the two. I think power swing is strength and power draw is dexterity. It might not be though. I don't know. But it's really good to prioritize strength because you want to live. You want to be the most powerful troop. Like if you're getting to the point where you feel like your troops are more effective than you are, there's something wrong and you spec'd out wrong. Because there's been sieges, not on LPs, but sieges like on my own playing, where I basically single-handedly held a siege. Like, I had to pick up like 3 or 4 quivers of arrows. I was completely covered in blood. I wasn't cheating, but I was like legitimately covered in blood and I still had health. Because I was just standing at the opening, hacking away. I had, like 80 or 90 kills. And I was just holding the ground for my archers to keep doing work, and all of them charging up the siege tower. And you are the most important troop, because you're the only one you can really control. You can, nudge enemies, nudge your friendly troops, why did I say enemies, in the right direction, but you can never explicitly say, do this, other than like really basic things like charge or hold your fire. If Mountain Blade 2 had things like, fire in volleys, or I know this mod had spear walls, but I'm not sure how you activate those. Or, things like that. Or you could have like, the thing I really want to do is be able to easily have formations. Like, you form a wedge with your 2 lines of infantry. That'd be really helpful if I could do that. I'm just asking how the war is going. You can read. But if I could form like a wedge, or have a split in the middle for like the cavalry to surge out of after the first wave hits, because you're trying to break them apart. And morale really needs to serve more purpose in battle. I know they added fleeing into this mod. There's only so much a mod can do, and you really need the base game to support that kind of thing, so mods can tweak the values. Because mods are really like, you already bought a car, and then the mechanics like tweaking it, make it go faster or run smoother, stuff like that. But like, you can't turn a Honda into a Ferrari. And you can't turn Mountain Blade Warband into, like, really deep medieval Total War battles or something like that. And it's the kind of thing it needs to support, because Mountain Blade is already a really strong combat system. And one of the reasons I really liked it, because I said, oh, that looks like a Total War game, except you're actually in the battle. That sounds awesome. So the combat is fun. There's not enough troop control. There need to be more factors in battle, and yeah, that's another one of the things I'm really hoping for in Mountain Blade 2. More control over troops, better simulation. Graphics are always kind of meh. I'd really rather prefer being able to have, like 300 or 400 people on the battlefield, like Warband supports. Well, supports-ish with mods, but whatever. Like that's better, and having these like GameCube-esque graphics. Like, look at Sarah. She's not a beauty. She just very few polygons. The textures aren't great, but she's one of many on the battlefield, and that looks good. And I'm hoping Mountain Blade doesn't go the Chivalry. I think. I never played it. I think it's by the same company, or just the same engine, or something like that. But they went the route of like really detailed, good graphics, but there's only, 18 people on the battlefield. That's not enough. Okay, here I figure out you can rename them. And I'm talking about Pokemon and HM Horse, like you have Bidoof in your party, and you know Cut and Flash and whatever else you can learn. Then I'm really upset the name doesn't carry through. Like you can't save the change, because that's what Sarah's gonna be for this first while. She's gonna be an HM Horse. All I'm gonna do is increase the whatever allows map movement speed. And I'm just gonna have her keep upping that. And then later on, she's gonna learn Engineer, because we're gonna do sieges. And she's just gonna be an HM Horse. She's not gonna be that useful in Battlefield, but I think she applies all of her passives when she's unconscious, which is great, because Pokemon can HM. Right. Well, I'll see you guys in the next